Greetings, everyone. I'm David Kelly, Program Director for the eLearning Guild, and I'd like to welcome you to our Google Plus Hangout event preview and orientation for the Devlearn Conference and Expo taking place next week in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's my pleasure to welcome you. We are going to be here for about the next 45 minutes to an hour or so going over a lot of the details that are going to help you be more successful and get more out of the Devlearn Conference and Exposition. We've got a lot of stuff that we are excited to be bringing you at the conference this year and wanted to spend some time chatting about it here. A couple of logistical notes as we go into the Hangout. We are using the Q&A functionality of the Google Hangouts today. So if you have questions as we go along, if you have any questions at any point, feel free to submit it via the Q&A. I'll see it pop up on my screen. I can see the question come in, I can address it, tag it within the post so that people who want to hear that question be answered know where it's going to be answered. So we're playing with some different functionality within Google Plus today to give you some more details about it. But in terms of our agenda for the day, some of the stuff that we are going to be covering, just to give you an idea. Bring this back up. First off, Devlearn is brought to you by the eLearning Guild. eLearning Guild is the preeminent organization for people who are using technology to help build learning programs for organizations. Devlearn is just one of a number of different events that we produce. We produce Learning Solutions, Conference and Expo, Ecosystem 2015. Those take place in March. We also have the MLearnCon Conference and Expo and the Performance Sports Symposium, which are taking place in June. But for today, we're here to discuss Devlearn. But it's just wanted you to be aware of that Devlearn is brought to you by the eLearning Guild, which offers a number of great resources. First and foremost, being the community of people that connect through the Guild that can help you develop your professional development resources. So what are we going to talk about today? Our agenda for today is pretty loose. I want to show you some things that you can do to use the app. I want to tell you about some of the important things that are going on at the conference that you want to make sure that you can add to your agenda. But for the most part, the agenda is going to be defined by you as a viewer. So if you have questions, as I mentioned, please do submit them either through the Q&A app or post it as a comment on the Google Plus page where this event took place. And I will be monitoring that and responding as we go along. But we're going to talk about the event. We're going to talk about the facility. We're going to talk about some tips and tricks that you can use to get more out of it. And we'll spend some time looking at the app, which is going to drive a lot of your participation at Devlearn this year. So why don't we get started? First off, Devlearn. This is going to be the 10th annual Devlearn Conference and Exposition that we have. It is by far the biggest and most popular event that takes place every year for individuals who are using technology to enhance and develop learning and performance programs within an organization. We're thrilled to be having it again in Las Vegas. It's going to be the biggest and best Devlearn we've ever had. And one of the things that has made this conference what it is the community of individuals who gather at the conference every single year. We're expecting this to be the biggest one that we've ever had. About 2,500 people are going to be gathering in Las Vegas for this conference, so we're really excited to have you be a part of it. So let's start by talking about some of the specific programming elements that I want you to be aware of that are going to be going on at the conference this year. And it's very, I see the talking about your question about you have about the map. We are going to be talking about that when I jump into the app in a little bit, so I definitely see that coming. So let's talk about a little bit about some of the stuff that's going to be going on. First thing I want to talk about is something that's taking place before the conference even begins. On Tuesday afternoon before the conference begins, we're going to be having XAPI Hyperdrive. XAPI Hyperdrive is a competition that's taking place the afternoon before Devlearn begins, Tuesday afternoon beginning at 3 p.m. And what we've done is we've invited individuals and organizations to come and share an elevator pitch about how they're using the Experience API to innovate learning and performance within their organizations. We've got about a dozen different individuals and organizations who are going to come and give short presentations, 5 to 8 minutes, that are going to be judged by a panel. And the panel is going to rate each of the each of the presentations on a number of different factors, and we're going to choose 3 winners who are going to highlight those ideas and those presentations during Devlearn at a special session that we're having highlighting the Hyperdrive winners. XAPI Hyperdrive is open to any registered attendees of Devlearn. So if you get into Las Vegas early on Tuesday, it's going to be from 3:30 till 6:30. It's dedicated. There's a dedicated room for it right near the registration desk. So after you get settled into Las Vegas, you go down to registration, pick up your registration materials. Feel free to drop by that room, stop in, check out some of the sessions that are going on. You can stay for as little or as much as you want. It is open doors, and you can come and go as you like. But it's going to be great to see some real experience API projects in action so that we can have some context around this exciting technology. And XAPI Hyperdrive is just one piece of the spotlight we're placing on XAPI at Devlearn. We also have XAPI in Practice, which is a special track that we have going on at the conference, hosted by Aaron Silvers and Megan Bowe. We have a number of sessions that are going on at the conference where you're going to see case studies of the Experience API put into action so you can see how this technology can be used to innovate learning and performance. We have a number of exploratory sessions also going on. During every session block of the conference, there'll be something going on in the XAPI in Practice track, so you want to check that out and consider adding some of those to your agenda as well. We've got 3 tremendously exciting keynotes forming the tent poles around which Devlearn is being built. Highlighted by our opening keynote, astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's going to be opening up the keynote, Devlearn conference, Wednesday morning. We do expect a full capacity crowd at that keynote. So if you're going to be attending that keynote, we suggest you get there a little early to get to the seat that you want, because we do expect a full house in that room. The doors will open probably around 8:15 or so that morning. The keynote session starts at 8:30, but we're thrilled to have Neil deGrasse Tyson opening up the conference. We're also excited about the next 2 keynote speakers as well. We have Bo Lotto, who's going to be exploring how the mind works and how that applies to what we do as it relates to learning. He'll be kicking off day 2 of the conference on Thursday. And we have Belinda Palmer closing out the conference on Friday afternoon, who's going to be looking at technology through a new lens and seeing how what we use society as a consumer, how that shapes our ideas around how technology should and could be used, and how we can break through those preconceptions to use technology more effectively. So 3 great keynotes that are forming the tent poles around which the Devlearn experience is going to be built. I see a couple of more questions coming in. Let me just take a peek and see if any of these are there. Will it be possible for those coming to just to the Expo and Demo Fest to go to XAPI? Yes, if you're an Expo Plus attendee, you can go to XAPI Hyperdrive, the pre-event competition. If you Expo Plus and Demo Fest attendees will only be able to go to the Hyperdrive competition. You wouldn't be able to attend the sessions that are part of the main conference. But XAPI Hyperdrive, that's taking place Tuesday afternoon, is open to Expo Plus attendees as well. I also see that there's another question here. Does that take place all conference long or during one particular time slot? Okay, so I'm presuming that is also in reference to XAPI. XAPI Hyperdrive takes place from 3 p.m. till 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon before the conference begins. The XAPI in Practice sessions, XAPI in Practice is something that is a track during the conference. So XAPI in Practice will be going on throughout the entire conference, where you can check out different sessions at any given point. So anytime that there's a session block going on, there will be a session or 2 dedicated to the XAPI in Practice track. So thank you for that question as well. So we have keynotes forming the tent poles around everything that's going to be going on. Next up, we've got a number of featured sessions taking place at the conference that we're very excited about. We've got a number of well-known industry experts who are going to share important conversations during our featured session block. We have Alison Rossett, who's going to be exploring how technology is changing the future of education. We have Ann Derryberry, who's going to be looking at badges and how they are forming a new credential for learning. We're going to have Carl Kapp, who's going to be exploring how to match the right content to the right learning strategy. We have Mark Rosenberg and Steve Foreman, who are looking at the learning ecosystem and how that new idea represents a holistic approach to learning and performance. We've got a panel of experts, including Sarah Gilbert, Robert Gadd, Chad Udell, and Clark Quinn, exploring why mobile is so critical to the future of learning performance. And closing out our block of featured sessions, we have Tom Kuhlman, who's looking at the importance of community and how it can play a great part in your training programs. So we've got 6 great featured sessions going on at Devlearn, all of which exploring an important topic for our industry. Next up, we have BYOL sessions. You're going to see the BYOL icon a lot in your program guides and such. And what BYOL stands for is bring your own laptop. And these are sessions that enable you to bring your laptop to the session with the software that's going to be discussed installed. And this enables you to follow along with the presenter. Rather than just passively listening to the presenter talk about these technical applications, you can follow along, implementing the technologies as the instructor is talking about it, starting to build your skills while you're at the conference. It's a great opportunity to get an early jump on putting a lot of what you're learning at Devlearn into practice, and I highly suggest that you consider adding some of these BYOL sessions to your conference agenda while you're at Devlearn. Another thing that is a must attend for you is DemoFest. eLearning DemoFest takes place Thursday afternoon from 4 p.m. till 6:30 p.m. We've got over 80 different projects that are being brought in by individuals and organizations to share what they've done so that other people can learn from them. At eLearning DemoFest, you'll be able to mingle with everyone from the conference, and we have over 80 different tables where these exhibits are taking place, and it's a science fair-like exhibition where you can go around and see these projects in action. But more importantly, you have the opportunity to talk to the designers and the developers that created these projects. Learn about the challenges that they encountered. Learn about what they did and what they had to overcome and what goals they were trying to reach and why they made the design and development decisions that they did. It's a fabulous opportunity to learn, and it's also a great place to network. Everyone who's going to be at the conference is going to be gathered in this one place for this casual and informal gathering where you can learn from these projects, connect with one another. And really, it's a wonderful learning opportunity that anyone I've spoken to about Devlearn and asked what they love about it, DemoFest is one of the first things that they bring to mind. So definitely want to make sure you spend some time, allocate part of your agenda to attend DemoFest, and join us for that great celebration of e-learning in practice. If you're new to the conference, one of the things I suggest you take advantage of is our docent program. Docents are something that you normally find in a museum, where you have the person who's working for the museum or volunteering for the museum, who knows the museum very well, knows the exhibits, knows why they were put in there, knows the story behind the exhibits, and gives you that guided experience that enables you to get more out of visiting museum. Well, we've adapted the docent program for Devlearn, and we've got 3 industry veterans, Neil Lasher, Stevie Rocco, and Karen Hyder, who are going to help newcomers or anyone who wants to take advantage of the docent program get more out of the conference. We've got a number of great pieces of the docent program that are going to be exclusive content. We've got the ability to have lunch with various industry experts. We've got a morning buzz session dedicated to the docent where you can connect with other attendees and share what you've learned. We've got a number of great opportunities to get more out of the conference. There will be a flyer in the materials that you pick up at registration that has a list of all the docent activities. So I encourage you, if you're new to the conference experience or looking for a way to get more of a guided experience, to check out that flyer and see what's going on at the docent program and consider adding some of those activities to your agenda as well. Keep in mind the docent program, like a lot of our activities that I've been talking about, you don't have to participate in everything that's on that activity list. You can pick and choose what docent activities you'd like to participate in as part of your conference agenda. So it's a great resource, especially for people who are new to the Devlearn conference. Another thing that's new for Devlearn this year is the Hub. The Hub is a central meeting place within the Devlearn conference space where you can recharge yourself and your devices. We'll have a number of different charging stations available, so if your devices are running low, you can come in there and spend some time charging it, or just kick back and relax and recharge yourself and your well-being at that point. We also have a number of programming elements that are in there. We have the Guild Swag Shop, which is new to the Devlearn this year. When we start looking at the conference app, you'll see that all the activity that you generate within the app generates a level of points, and there's a leaderboard that shows how many points people have been generating through the app. Those points can actually be redeemed for merchandise at the swag shop. So as you use the app a lot and you see yourself getting through higher point accumulations, stop by the swag shop and see what you can get redeeming those points. We'll have we have a lot of great merchandise there, t-shirts, water bottles, books, and other things that you can use the points for, or if you just like the merchandise so much, you also have the option of buying them with cash instead of redeeming points through the app. But the swag shop will be located in the Hub, and we are going to have a video tips if you want to go to our YouTube page highlighting how you can get more from the swag shop. Also in the swag shop, also in the Hub, excuse me, will be our conference bookstore. This is where we'll have a number of great books available from speakers and other industry experts that can help you get more and continue the learning after you leave Devlearn. It's also where our book signings are going to be for any of the authors that are offering book signings. We'll have a sign outside the bookstore showing when book signings are taking place. So if you're interested in meeting with an author and getting a book signing, that's where those book signings will take place. I do want to make one special point in terms of the book signings related to Neil deGrasse Tyson. Dr. Tyson will be doing a book signing after his keynote. However, Dr. Tyson has a short window of opportunity that he is available to do that book signing. So if you're interested in getting a book signed by Dr. Tyson, I highly recommend you buy the book ahead of time before the keynote session. The bookstore will be open along with registration earlier than the keynote. So go buy the book ahead of time. That way, after the keynote, you can just go reserve your space online and get a better chance of having that book signed by Dr. Tyson instead of getting online late after purchasing the book. So keep that in mind if you're interested in getting a book signed by Dr. Tyson. And the other element that's in the hub is our eLearning Guild member services booth. As I mentioned earlier, the Devlearn is brought to you by the eLearning Guild, and the eLearning Guild offers a host of resources for people who work in our field beyond just Devlearn and our conferences. And I encourage you to take a few moments, visit the Guild member services booth, and find out about all the great resources that we have available for our members and how you can participate in creating a lot of those resources yourself. Before I move on, I see a couple of questions popping in, so take a look. Who are the folks doing book signings this year? Our keynotes that are going to be doing book signings will be Neil deGrasse Tyson, and also Belinda Palmer, who's closing the conference, will be doing a book signing directly after her closing session as well. And we have a number of other people who have written books that are going to be doing book signings as well. Some of the ones that I know of off the top of my head, I believe, are Clark Quinn, possibly Cami Bean. I believe Corinne Pagano might be doing one. A number of other ones, but there will be a sign outside the bookstore with a complete schedule of the authors who are doing book signings at that point. So thank you for that question. Let's see. Okay, next, so let's go continue on. No other questions. And another thing you want to allocate time for while you're at Devlearn is visiting our expo hall. Devlearn features the largest expo in North America, fully dedicated to companies and vendors who use technology to innovate learning and performance programs within organizations and institutions. It is a wonderful learning experience. I highly recommend that you spend some time visiting the expo. First, you get an opportunity to see the different technologies that are being used to innovate learning and performance. You have the opportunity to talk to vendors and see how their products, services, and solutions can help enhance your organization's learning strategy. It's a fabulous resource, and I highly recommend you spend some time in the expo hall. The expo hours are going to be Wednesday from 9:30 till 6:30 p.m. and Thursday from 9:30 till 3 p.m. Also in the expo, we have 3 learning stages that are going on. We have the emerging technology stage, the e-learning tool stage, and the management exchange. There are going to be over 30 different sessions taking place on these stages in the expo hall. There are some great conversations scheduled. All the details about all the sessions will be in the quick guide that you're going to get at registration, as well as within the conference app. So I highly recommend you check out what's going on in these stages and consider adding some of these sessions to your agenda as well. Also, while you're in the expo hall, in your registration materials, you're going to be getting an Expo passport card, which is a game card. Take that as you're visiting the expo hall. There'll be a number of vendors on that passport card, and when you visit each of those booths, they will stamp your card. Once you have all of the vendors' icons stamped on the card, drop that off at our registration desk. And at the close of the expo at 2:45 on the emerging tech stage, we're going to take all the cards that were handed in, choose one of them as a winning raffle, and that person's going to win an iPad Mini. Keep in mind, if you do enter that raffle, the winner does need You need to be present to win. So if you're interested in seeing who won that raffle, join us at the emerging tech stage at 2:45 p.m. on Wednesday. See a question coming through related to the hub. Is the hub the place where affinity groups sign up for meet and greets? You could definitely do that. Most of our meet and greets, if you're interested in meeting up for dinner and things of that sort, a lot of those meet and greets take place virtually through the app, where people connect with one another through the app or through the Twitter Backchannel to connect for dinner and such. But the hub is a great central meeting place. So if you wanted to have put together and say, anyone want to meet up for dinner? I'm going to be in the hub at 6 o'clock. Let's meet up. We can go figure out where to go. Do one of those spontaneous meetup. The hub is a great central meeting place for any purposes that you might have for meeting with different people. So yeah, absolutely, you could do that. Thanks for the question, Deborah. I also want to spend a few minutes just helping you navigate around the Bellagio. Now, this map will also be available within the conference app to help you navigate your way around the space, but I just want to spend a few minutes looking at the different elements of the Bellagio and where you're going to be coming from. First and foremost, I want you to be aware that all of this conference space is going to be centrally located within the hotel. We've got a great space within the Bellagio, wonderful rooms that we're really excited to be in the space this time. If you're staying at the Bellagio Hotel, you should be aware that there are 2 separate towers of rooms within the Bellagio Hotel. This is important because how you enter the conference space is going to vary depending on which tower you're in. So if you're staying in the spa tower, you're going to be entering the conference space from the left side of the map, the box that just came up on your screen. You'll be entering from the hallway on the left-hand side of the screen. That's for the spa tower. If you're staying in the Bellagio tower, you'll be entering the conference space from the noted space on the right-hand side of your screen. So depending on which tower you're coming from, you'll be entering the conference space from a different side. So just keep that in mind as you get your bearings when you first get to the conference. Now, when you get to Las Vegas, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to registration, check in, and pick up your conference materials. The registration desk is going to be just outside the hallway to the Bellagio Tower on the right-hand side of the map, just outside of the Monet rooms that you see there on the right-hand side of the screen. So make that your first stop when you get to Las Vegas. Stop by the registration desk, check in, get your materials, and then you can go on with your trip to Las Vegas and to Devlearn. One thing I do want to point out, especially for newcomers to our conference, one of the things you will get at your registration is a lanyard with your name tag. You do need to wear this at all times while you're attending the conference. It's what gets you into the meeting space. It's what gets you into the conference space. Gets you all the access. And especially during our keynote sessions, we will have people, because of the popularity of our keynotes, we will have people checking badges as they enter the keynote space. So please do make sure you're wearing your badge at all times as you're visiting the conference. Next space on the map, I just want to look at a couple of different areas and talk about what's going to be going on in each of these rooms. First room I want to look at is the general session room, the Bellagio Ballroom. We've got a number of things going on in the Bellagio Ballroom. First and foremost, as I mentioned, this is where our keynotes are going to be taking place. Wednesday morning with Neil deGrasse Tyson, Thursday morning with Bolato, and Friday afternoon with Belinda Palmer. Each of those keynote sessions are going to be taking place in the Bellagio Ballroom. It's also where e-learning Demo Fest is going to be taking place on Thursday afternoon. That will also be in the Bellagio Ballroom. And also on Wednesday and Thursday afternoon, lunch will be provided. It's part of the conference registration, and it will be served in the Bellagio Ballroom. Keep in mind, as it relates to lunch, that there's seating in the Bellagio Ballroom, but there's seating all around the conference space. So as you can very easily pick up your lunch, go find one of the other seating areas that you can have your lunch, especially it's supposed to be good weather in Las Vegas next week. Take your lunch outside and enjoy that wonderful weather. But there's plenty of, you don't have to sit in the Bellagio Ballroom. You can take your lunch and sit anywhere you'd like and enjoy the different facilities within the Bellagio. So that's the Bellagio Ballroom, general sessions, Demo Fest, and lunch taking place there. I see a question that just came through about registration. Can you register early if you are attending a pre-conference workshop? Yes, you absolutely can. If you're attending one of our pre-conference workshops, the registration desk will be open on both Monday and Tuesday early in the morning before the registration, before the pre-cons or the courses that you might be taking if you're coming in for a Guild Academy workshop on Saturday or Sunday. The registration desk will be open so that you can visit the registration desk before you head to those sessions as well. Great question. So please do keep in mind before you go to any sort of our, whether it be a pre-con course or if you're just coming to the conference, just stop by registration ahead of time so that you can get your materials before you get there. So that's the Bellagio Ballroom. Next up, I want to look at the space right in the center, the Grand Ballroom. That's where our Expo Hall is going to be. That's where you can go to visit with all the different vendors and find out how their products and services can help you and your organization reach their learning and performance goals. It's also where you can it's a great place to visit to find out what's going on in our industry, what the trends are, and what solutions are coming that can help you do more within your own organization. It's also where those 3 learning stages that I mentioned are, the e-learning tool stage, the management exchange stage, and the emerging tech stage. All 3 of those stages are within the Expo Hall. So if you see a session that you're interested in attending and you see that it says that it's a stage session, it's going to be in the Grand Ballroom within our Expo Hall. The Expo Hall is open Wednesday and Thursday. It closes at 3 p.m. on Thursday afternoon. Everything for the Expo will be taking place in that Grand Ballroom. Speaking of sessions, we also have well over 120 different sessions taking place throughout the conference. Beyond just the 30 that are on those learning stages, we've got well over 120 different sessions going on throughout the entire conference. They're going to be taking place in the different rooms that are located on the left and the right-hand side of your map highlighted right now. The Tower Ballrooms and the Renaissance Foyer on the left, as well as the artist-named rooms on the right-hand side, including Monet, Degas, Renoir, and others. So all of those rooms are going to be on the left and the right-hand side of the map that you're looking at here. So as you're looking at the concurrent sessions and you see the names of the rooms, keep in mind where they are on the map here. One other space that I want to bring up, I mentioned the hub earlier. The hub is right towards the center of your map. It's going to be where our member services booth is, where the charging stations are, where the swag shop is in the bookstore. That's right in the center of all the conference space, and it will be open throughout the entire conference time. So if you're interested in taking a break, kicking back, or checking out some of the programming elements that are in the hub, that's where that's going to be located. Question that I just see coming in: if you're just at Expo and Demo Fest, are you available to participate in lunch? Unfortunately, not. The Expo Plus and Demo Fest, people who just have the Expo Plus passes are not going to be able to access any of the conference space other than Demo Fest and the Expo Hall at that point. So apologize for that, but unfortunately, the lunches are only provided to full conference attendees. Okay, I'm just going to check one other thing while we're seeing here, just to see if any questions came through on the main page. See if anyone had any issues getting in. And we seem to be okay there. Great. So coming back to our PowerPoint here. Okay. So that's our conference space. Like I said, it's all centrally located. It's a great facility, and it's going to be great to support all the different things we're going to be doing at Devlearn this year. I also mentioned a little bit about the conference app. The conference app is by far the greatest resource that you're going to have available to you to help you get more out of the conference this year. It is a wonderful app that is going to help you do a lot of great stuff. I'm going to spend some time showing you the app in practice in just a second. Another thing that you'll be getting is a quick guide, what you see on the left-hand side of the screen. The quick guide has all the details about the schedule. It's got information about connecting to the network that we have, and a lot of the key elements of what's going on at Devlearn at the conference this year. We're really excited about what's going on in the app and how you can use these resources to help you get around the conference. So the quick guide, from a paper-based standpoint, is going to be very helpful, but the conference app, which I'm going to show you in just a few moments, is going to help you get a lot out of it. I see a question coming through about Wi-Fi in the Bellagio. Wi-Fi within a hotel facility is always, depending on how many people are using it. We have a lot of heavy users at our conference that always tests it, but we're expecting it to serve very well. We've done a couple of tests and it works. It seems to be going very well. The Wi-Fi will be available within the entire conference space. It's not available within the conference Wi-Fi is not available from within the rooms, but it will be available through the entire space. If you're connecting to the wireless internet, you're going to see a wireless network called Devlearn. It is password protected. So when you connect to that network, the password that you're going to enter is the word Devlearn in all lowercase letters, but it's going to connect you very easily to that app. So thank you for that question, Ricardo. See some feedback that people who are already in the app are enjoying it, so I'm glad to see that as well. Thank you for that feedback. There will be session handouts also. As you go from session to session, there's going to be a lot of different handouts and PowerPoint presentations and different slides that are going to be available. These are all available to you as a resource after the conference. The website is already available. It's devlearn14.com/handouts. There are some we're still adding as presenters share with us what they're going to be sharing during their sessions. But this is a great way to come back to the conference after the conference has ended, to revisit the content that you saw and possibly visit some content from sessions that you didn't see and still be able to learn something from it. So bookmark this site, devlearn14.com/handouts. It's a great resource to be able to come back and revisit the content either during or after the conference, or even you can check it out now and see, if you're interested, not sure about a session, if the materials are up there, you can get a sneak preview of what's going to be discussed, help you make your decisions about what sessions you want to plan for your agenda. So another great resource there, devlearn14.com/handouts. Devlearn also has one of the most popular back channels that go on at a conference. If you're not familiar with the idea of a back channel, it's essentially people who are sharing what they're learning and connecting with one another using social media. Predominantly on Twitter is where it takes place. If you're on Twitter and you're going to participate in the back channel, make sure you use the hashtag Devlearn and add that to all of your tweets so that you're contributing to the discussion, not only with the people who are at the conference, but people who are following what's being discussed at Devlearn online. People are always following the Devlearn conference, people who are, for one reason or another, not able to join us because they want to find out what's going on at this conference. It's the leading conference in this space. The back channel is always extremely popular with tremendous amounts of resources and learning being shared. So I encourage you to view it and see what's being shared there, as well as participating by by contributing yourself, adding the Devlearn hashtag to all of your tweets. We will also be curating the back channel. I will be curating the back channel myself. If you go to davidkelly.me, that's my website, there's a curated back channel resource list there. I will show you what that's going to look like. Looks like just on the page there. But it's what I will be doing is I will be monitoring the back channel feed, seeing what people are sharing, and pulling out the nuggets of wisdom and the different resources that people are sharing that expand upon and contextualize what's being learned at the conference. So it's a great resource. I highly recommend you check out that as well and bookmark that site as something that you can also use to come back to continue the learning for Devlearn beyond just the time that we're in Las Vegas. I mentioned the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi will be available throughout the conference space. The network you're going to connect to is Devlearn, and make sure you put in the password Devlearn in all lowercase to connect to that network. If you haven't already done so, I've mentioned it a couple of times, you want to download the conference app. It's available on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. It's also available as a web app for those of you that don't have an Android or an Apple device. But you can get, whatever your device is, you can get the app at devlearn14.com/app. It is a tremendous resource that I highly recommend you check out and consider using for Devlearn this year. So since we're on that topic, let's take a moment and look at that app, because it is there's a lot of functionality in it that I want you to be aware of. Give you a quick demo tour of the app, see different functionality. For those of you that might have already viewed the app, if there's something specific that you would like me to explore on it, feel free to put that question into the Q&A. The app is tremendous. We're really excited about it. So let me just bring it on screen so you can see it, and I'll walk you through some of the different functionality of it. So I'm just going to bring this up for you in order to do that. Okay, at this point, you should be seeing the app screen in front of you. Now, I'm demonstrating this from an iPhone, but the functionality, while the dimensions might change based on your device, it's available on tablets and Android devices as well. The look and feel of it might be a little different based on the dimensions of your device, but the functionality is going to be pretty much exactly the same. So you'll notice, first off, before I even launch the app, that there's a 5 above the icon for the app. That's indicating that there are 5 notifications that I have available for me within the app. This app has a tremendously robust social component that enables you to connect and share with other attendees. And that 5 is indicating that there are 5 notices of some level that are related to that social component. And I'll show you where you can see that within the app. But let's launch the app. Now, the first time you launch this app, oh, that's a little disturbing. Wasn't expecting to see myself there. Thank you for sharing that, Sam. So the first time you launched this app, I launched it and it went directly into the social feed, which I'll explore in just a second. The first time you use this app, I want you to be aware that it's going to ask you to log in. You have to log in with your email address and a password. The email address that you use, make sure it's the email address that you use to register for the conference. A lot of us have multiple email addresses. Make sure that the email address that you're using to log in is the email address associated with you logging into that you use to register for the conference, because that's the one that's going to get you into the app. And then it's going to ask you for a password. The password that you want to use to get into the app is Devlearn. It's really the one you have to use. It's not just that you want to use it. You want to use it because you have to use it. And it's all in lowercase letters. The word Devlearn in all lowercase, and that'll get you right in. You do not need to log in each time you go into the app. You only will need to log in if you, for whatever reason, it keeps you logged in unless you manually log out. So that's why when I launched the app, it just went right into the feed because I'm currently logged into it. I never logged out of it. You do have the option within your profile if you wanted to change your password from the default to something different. If you choose to do that, you can go into your profile and do that. But you only need to log in once. You will not need to log in again unless you manually log out. So as I said, once you get in, this is the social feed. And you can just scroll through the app to see what people are sharing. You can share pictures. You can share what you're learning in text. You can say where you are. All sorts of different things. You also have the ability to like comments that people have made or postings that people have made. You have the ability to comment on what they've done. So for instance, I see the comment that just popped up from Ricardo. If I like that post, I can click I can press the smile that's right under that. That's essentially like you would do on Facebook to like a post. And if I wanted to comment, you would hit the thought bubble next to it, and then you're just going to type into your device what the comment is. And I'm going to type something in there and hopefully spell correctly. And then you just post it, and that adds that as a comment directly to that posting. I'm going to go back to the feed, and all in real time see that it went in there. So you can see what people are sharing. You can connect with other people as well. There's a lot of great functionality in this app, and I want to spend a few minutes exploring that. So this is where you land when you go into the app, into this social feed. If you want to get to the menu of options that are available within the app, you can either select the 3-line icon in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, or you can just swipe right across your device. That will bring up the main menu. I don't want to go through each of the items that are here and tell you what it is you're looking at. First off, activity. Well, from the very top, you've got your name and the conference that you're looking at. That's where your profile is. So if you wanted to change your profile, I mentioned earlier that you could update your password if you wanted to. Just select the image that you have there. I've already put in an image for myself, but that's going to bring you to your profile. If you wanted to change your image, by default, if you don't have one in there, you can do that here. But there would be a picture of a camera there where you could just add an image to yourself to add to your profile screen. You can scroll through and see what you've posted to the app. It'll have a listing of all the activity that you've done. If you wanted to change your password or some of the settings that you have within the app, you're going to choose the gear in the upper right-hand corner, and that's going to show you the badges that you earned. We'll talk about those in a second. You have the option to go in and edit your profile. And by default, it's going to have your name, your first name and last name in here. By default, it will not have your title or your company. From our privacy settings, we decided not to put that in there. But if you want to, you can add that if you want to make that publicly available. You also see show on profile for Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Those are options that are there. I highly recommend you do not use them here. If you want to, you have the option to link Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn through the app so that you can share what you're posting in the app to the public at large. And I recommend that you do that. It's a great way to share what you're learning, just not within the settings here. I'm going to show you how to do that during a post, which is the better way to do that. It functions better. So ignore what it says here within your profile. I'll show you where to do that when we talk about a posting. But I'm going to exit out of here. So that's how you look at someone's profile. Let me bring you back to the main menu. Underneath your name, you'll see I have to the right of my name, I have the number 7. That's where you're going to see that connects to that 5 we saw earlier on the excuse me, on the icon for the app. That's showing you that there are that's telling you that there are 7 new notifications, basically 7 types of interactions with me through the social feed. So if I select that, I'll see what it's showing me there. It's showing me people who follow me through the app. Following someone through the app is essentially going to enable you to see their posts more often. It's going to, you also see when someone commented on something that they have, that commented on one of your posts. You'll see if someone liked an update that you did. Any sort of interaction that is going around with comment, if you comment on a thread and someone else comments on the thread, that'll show up on a notification, kind of tell you that the conversation is continued. So any sort of interaction, or update related to a social interaction that you have through the app is going to show up as one of those numbers. Once you go in here and you look at it, if I select any one of them, it'll show me the details of that particular posting. It'll also make it like it's now shown that I've viewed that. I can still come back to it, but now it's no longer, it's now dimmed to show me that I've viewed it. So if I wanted to just say I've looked at all these, I'm done, I can hit clear all. Clear all is not making them that you can no longer access them. It's just essentially saying it's not new. So I have nothing new to look at this point. So if I go back to the main screen, my notifications now say 0. So that's just a great way to trigger you that there's more social interaction for you within the app. Now, below that, activity feed. The activity feed is going to show you exactly what we looked at by default, showing you what's going on through the app. Agenda. Every sort of programming element that's going to be taking place is going to show up in the agenda. By default, it will bring you to either the current date of the conference or what the next available conference element is. So right now it's showing you the first element of first agenda item that's within the app. We have some Guild Academy courses that are taking place on Saturday. That's what we're seeing because it's the first available element within the app. But I can go forward within the dates and explore all the different things that are going on at the conference. So if I go to the first day of the conference, for example, I can see all the different things that are going on. And if there was a session that if I wanted to get the details on any of the sessions, I just select it. And it gives me who the speaker is, when it's taking place, what room it's taking place in, a description of the session, as well as who the speaker is, and all the details are on there. If I wanted to learn more about the speaker, one of the things within the app, anytime you see red text, that is selectable. So if I selected Megan's name from here, I'm going to get details about her as a speaker, where I can get into greater detail about who she is and her bio and the sessions that she's doing. So that's what you can get the details from the agenda. If I liked any particular thing within, if I wanted to set my own agenda, so let's say I wanted to go to the daily docent kickoff. We talked about the docent program and how they have a morning meeting. If I wanted to add that to my agenda, you'll see at the bottom I have an add to my agenda option. I choose that, and now it just says remove from my agenda. I can toggle it on and off. If I go back to the agenda, you'll see that at the very top of that screen, I have the main agenda, which shows me everything. I can go into my agenda, which is just showing me things that I've added to my agenda. It's just a great way to personalize what's going on there. So everything that you could possibly need is in the agenda. Great way to set what you're going to be doing within Devlearn. One tip I would also add, as you're setting your agenda for the conference, always schedule a backup. There are times that either a session could fill up if it's extremely popular and you're unable to access it. It could be that you go into a session and the description is a little different than what you expected it to be, and maybe you're in a session and 10 minutes in you realize it's not what you were looking for. Don't feel obligated to sit through the remaining 50 minutes of that session. Have a backup that you can go to. So select more than one item for any given time period so that you have a backup just in case you want to go check out something else. I see some questions coming up. Can you please go over the map layers in the app? I'm going to talk about that. The filtering, please. Sorry, I see that question. Can you talk about filtering, please? Can you put in another question that goes into a little bit more detail about what you mean by filtering? Because there's a couple of different aspects of filtering. So if you can give me a question that has a little bit more detail about what you mean by filtering, I'll be more than happy to address it. And is there a place within the app to write yourself a note or a reminder? Good question. If you wanted, so if I was going into a session, if I was in a particular session here, let's say I was attending this pre-con with Art Cohn, you'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, there's a piece of paper and a pencil icon. If I select that, I can add a status update related to that program. So it's not that I'm making a note per se that is going to be part of a notepad or exported to Evernote or something like that. It's adding a status update about that. So if you wanted to take notes, you can share them with everybody through the app. And if you wanted to capture those in some way, you can feel free to reach out to myself or someone else from the guild, and we can get you an export of what you've put through the app if you wanted to take that for notes. Not a problem. We can do that for you. So let's see, I answered that question. Let me just click that off. So back to the main agenda here. If you wanted to get details about our speakers, you could select speakers, and it'll give you an alphabetical listing of all the different speakers that are at the conference. You can get details about any one of them. There's also an alphabetical on the right-hand side. But if you wanted to get details about any of the speakers, you just select them from the profile. It's going to give you their bio and all the sessions that they might be speaking at the conference. Back to the main menu, attendees. If you wanted to connect with any of the other attendees, you can get a list of all the people who are attending Devlearn from in here, keeping in mind that their contact information is not shared. You have the ability to follow someone by just selecting follow here, which will make their posts more prevalent for you within the app, but you do not have the ability to see anybody's contact information within the app. But you can connect with people. One of the things that you can do within the app is you can tag someone within a post, and that will show up as a notification. When I show you how to add an update, which I'm going to show you to do right now, that's one of the things you can do to connect with someone else to the conference. So let's say we're talking about this activity feed. Let's say we wanted to add a post to it. While I'm looking at the feed, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see that we've got that pen and paper icon. That's how you create a status update within here. And it brings you to this screen. Now, at the bare minimum, to create an update within this app, you need to either add a textual element, some sort of a message, and/or a picture. You need at least one of those in order to be able to submit something to the app. So you can have both, but you have to have at least one in order to submit something. So let's say I'm going to just show you some of the different functionalities in there. So I'll start with just a basic text update. I can't type and talk at the same time, so that's why they're silent. Sorry for the awkwardness. And I could just hit, now you'll notice now that I've got text in the upper right-hand corner, that check, which was dim before, is now selectable. So if I selected the check at this point, it would post this as an update in the app. But before I do that, I want to show you a couple of other functions within the status update. To the left of the text that I just wrote, there's a camera icon. If I select that, by default, it's going to open up my camera. And now I can just go and take a picture of something if I wanted to. You'll notice on this screen in the bottom left-hand corner, there's also a square with a picture. That's my photo album local to my device. So I can either live take a picture, or I can select that option in the bottom left and select something from the library of photos on my device. Keeping in mind, if you select something that's from the library of items on your device, the picture that's going to show in the app is a square, kind of like Instagram. So it's going to crop it to a certain extent. But it gives you some options to do that in there. But I can just, with the camera open, I could just take a picture. You also have the option in the upper right-hand corner, if I wanted to. I could turn on the camera and do the selfie. Very awkward selfie, very close up. Wasn't expecting that. But now I've got this. I could take the picture and I just select it, and you'll see that it adds that as a contextual element to the app. So now I've got the picture and the text that it's all part of the posting. Nothing's happened yet. Nothing happens until I select that check in the upper right-hand corner. If I didn't like the picture that came out, I could just hit that X, and it'll give me the option to remove it if I want it. It's just removing it from the post. I could do another one if I wanted to at this point. Hold my camera a little bit more steady to take the picture. And okay, I like that picture better. So now I've got the camera, and I've got the text, and I've got the picture. I could hit check if I wanted to. I want to talk about the elements that you're seeing right below the picture right now. First off, you see I'm at. This is a tagging feature, similar if you're familiar with Foursquare or Swarm, where I can basically say where I am. You have the option to add that contextual data to your posts. You can say what session you're attending, what exhibitor you're visiting, or what table at eLearning Demo Fest you're at. So if I go into which session, I could say where I'm at any given point. And I can add that as a contextual element to the app, the posting that I'm doing. So right now you see that I just added that I was at registration desk to this posting that I'm there. To the right of that, you see 3 social media icons. One for Facebook, one for Twitter, one for LinkedIn. At this point in time, when you're posting something within the app, it is posting it just locally to the app, to the social feed within the app, something that is only visible by people who are within the app. And we mentioned earlier that there is a login that you need to get into the app. The only people who are going to be viewing this are people who are attending the conference. So it's a great opportunity to connect with other people who are at the conference. If you wanted to share whatever you're sharing in the app with people outside of the conference app, be it Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, you can do so using this functionality here. So for instance, you'll see that I have the Twitter icon is red here. That means I've selected to share it to Twitter. And I've already linked my Twitter account with the app, so that if I wanted to take this message and share it to Twitter at large, I can just turn it on at this point because I've already linked Twitter to the app. You have to link your social media account to the app in order to cross-post. So I haven't linked my LinkedIn account with this app, but I can show you what it looks like when you do the linking. So if I chose LinkedIn from the options here, it's going to open up a window for me that is going to enable me to connect my LinkedIn account with the app, so that once I've done that one time, now when I go into the app, it would work like you're seeing with Twitter, where if I want to cross-post something between Twitter and the app, all I need to do is select it. Right now it's not selected. All I need to do is select it, and it turns it on, and it does that cross-posting for me. It will post this status update to the app locally and also online to Twitter for everyone else to see. One thing I do want you to be aware of, a lot of us are used to participating in the back channel on Twitter. If you are sharing your posts on Twitter to contribute to the back channel, you want to take that text that you're doing at the top and add that hashtag that we mentioned earlier, Devlearn, as a hashtag. The Devlearn hashtag will not automatically be added to if I select the Twitter option to cross-post from the app to Twitter, it's not automatically going to add a hashtag for me. So make sure you add the text of the hashtag to the app as well. so that it to the text of your app posting, so that it adds it to the hash to your posting in Twitter as well. So those are the pieces of functionality for a status update. You can add text, you can add photos, you can tag it with a location, and you can also cross-post to Facebook, Twitter, and/or LinkedIn. Once you've got whatever you want to do, you just hit that check, and it will add your posting to the app. Now, one of the things I want to point out here is this message that I got here. It's telling me how many points that I've generated for what I just did within the app. It's telling me how many points I generated for the transaction or the activity that I just did. So you see that I got 2 points for posting a picture, 3 points for sharing an update, 1 point for tagging an item within my update. And it's telling me at the top here that I've got 127 different points. Now, what are these points? Why do they matter? A couple of different reasons. First off, it adds a gaming element to the app. But more importantly, we have added something called a swag shop to the hub that I mentioned earlier. And in that swag shop, you'll see T-shirts and a number of water bottles, books, and other cups and other sorts of merchandise that you can get by redeeming points that you earn through the app. So as you see that you've earned a certain level of points, if it reaches one of the thresholds for one of the items at the swag shop, stop by the swag shop, pull out your device, show what points you have, and you can redeem them for that particular item. So it's a great way to just add a gaming element, get some additional swag before you leave. That's what these points are generating for you. So that's how you post an update to the app. Very simple, and it's a great way to connect with other people. One thing I did not mention when I was posting that app, I forgot to mention. If I go in here and I'm putting in an update, if you do an @ symbol as you're putting in an update, you'll notice as I start to type that it's bringing up names on my screen. You can tag someone within the app. So if I said, well, I've got David Kelly on that, I put that, you'll see that I screwed up. You'll see that it's going to tag that person within the app. Now, it doesn't show up as an actual tag until you actually post it, I believe. If I could type, but you'll see that it's bringing up people within the app, and you can tag their name within the app to do that. I'm not going to post it again because it's not necessary posting, but that's one way to get someone's attention. So if you wanted to hypothetically send a message that you wanted me to be aware of, and you could see some people have done it, you could tag that person within the app, within the posting that you're doing, and it will show up as a notification to that person. You see some people have done that already. I've got 3 new notifications on my screen from postings that people have done while we're doing this Hangout that have in some way, shape, or form triggered me. So that's how you post to the activities feed. The activity feed, the agenda, the speakers, and the attendees are probably the main elements of this app that you're going to be using, but I want to quickly talk about what's beneath that. If you wanted to get details about any of our sponsors, including our premium sponsors, you can go through the list here and get details about what they do and what they offer. If you wanted to get details about any of the exhibitors in our expo hall, they're listed alphabetically within the app. And again, you can go into any one of them and get details about what they do and where you can go to learn more about them. Also, one of the things I want to point out, since I'm on this screen, you'll notice that you have an add to bookmark section. You have, if there's anything within an app that you want to come back to, be it a speaker, a session, a visitor, with an exhibitor within the expo, you can just choose that add to bookmark section, and you can come back to that via your personal bookmarks at any time. Or you also see view on map. If you choose that, it will bring up the map of the expo hall and show you where they are within the expo hall. And using 2 fingers, I'm zooming out on the map right now so I can see the entire expo hall. And it's showing you contextually exactly where they are within that expo hall. So it's a great way to be able to visit find out where someone is within the expo hall. Also on the, we have the exhibitors. We've got the full map of the conference space available. Actually, I don't think it's loaded as of yet into the app. It will be before we go live. It's coming in. They must have updated it. There you go. So we're seeing the entire facility now within the app. Showed you that earlier, but again, you can zoom in, look at different elements to see where different rooms are within the conference center. Great way to check out what's going on. You'll also see in the upper right-hand corner, there are different maps that you can access. So now level 2 is going to show you where the expo hall is. And I believe that's the only other map. Yeah, just the expo hall and the main facility. But great maps and a great way that you can zoom in and help navigate yourself around the facility. Underneath the maps on the icon, you see food. It's going to give you a list of all the different restaurants that are accessible throughout the facility, the Bellagio. Give you details about what they serve, what their hours are. help you add some planning to your agenda about where you want to eat while you're in Las Vegas. Underneath that, you see photo feed. Photo feed is just going to take the activity feed that we were looking at and just show you what photos have been shared through the app. And if you like any one of them, you can just go in, choose it, and it'll show you just the details of that particular one from within the feed. Bookmarks, this is showing you specific things that you have personally bookmarked within the app. So it's a great way to be able to come back to things that you want to visit later on. Leaderboard. Leaderboard is showing you who has generated points within the app. Keeping in mind, this leaderboard is going to be reset at the time the conference starts. So everyone will be starting from 0. Sorry for Ricardo and Fausto, who are at the top of the board now based on participation at this point, but we are going to be resetting the leaderboard at the time the conference starts. Underneath that, eLearning Demo Fest. This is where you can go to find out details about all the different projects that are being displayed at eLearning Demo Fest. It's also where you're going to be going to vote on projects at Demo Fest. When you go to Demo Fest, you have the option to vote for the projects that you like the most. So if I'm visiting Demo Fest and I'm at table 17, which I've just chosen at random, and I like this one, you'll see that there's an option there at the bottom called Surveys. If I go into that, now you have vote for this Demo Fest project. If I choose Start Survey, it's just saying, do you want to cast a vote? I would say yes or no and hit next, and that submits my vote. I'm not going to do that at this point. But if you want to submit a vote for someone at Demo Fest as one of the projects that were your favorites, you would just go into the particular details, go into Surveys, and choose the vote for this Demo Fest project option within the listing there. There's also an FAQ with a lot of questions and answers that you might have about the conference. There's also an option here for share your Devlearn tips. This is going to take you to a survey form. One of the things we're doing at the conference this year, everything we do at the Guild is about the community and how the community is connecting people, and the community is individuals helping other individuals learn more. Well, as you're going through the conference and you've got tips that you're learning, you can contribute them to an ebook that we're putting together, the Best of Devlearn Tips. If you scroll down here, you can put in your details about who you are and what your tip is. And we're going to be taking all those tips and creating an ebook for them to collate them and curate them and put them together into an ebook after the conference. You can search the app, and I mentioned earlier, if you wanted to log out for any reason, you could choose the app at the bottom. So the app is a tremendous resource that's going to help you get a great amount of value out of the conference and help you connect with other people through the robust social feed. Great app this year, the best app we've ever had. We're getting some tremendous feedback, and it's going to be a great resource for you. So let me take a look at some of the other questions that might have come in. When you click on the agenda, a filtering button appears at the top and on the right. Oh, okay, so that's the question that came through about filtering. So I'm on the agenda. You'll see there's an option here. The question that's coming through now is asking about filtering within the agenda app. So if I'm looking at the agenda, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll notice that there's an option for filter. If I choose that, you're going to see the different tracks that are going on at the conference. And you can filter what you're seeing in the agenda based on what you're looking for. So say, for instance, I'm looking for a session on games and gamification, or I'm interested in games and gamification and also content or also mobile. I can select multiple options. And once I've selected the tracks that I want to see, I hit apply, and now it's just showing me the sessions that are taking place on the conference within the agenda. I'm only seeing the options that were there based on the filter that it has put in place. So it's filtered it down. It's now only showing me the games and gamification or mobile sections of tracks within the conference while looking at it. So it's a great way to narrow down what it is you're searching for. If I go in here and I want to select everything again, I'm just going to go back in, and now I want to see it all. So I'm going to turn them all back on so that I'm seeing everything as part of the conference again. And now I'm going to go back in and see every single session as I go through. So filtering can help you narrow down what it is you're looking for within the app. So the app is going to be a great resource for you, something that I think is going to help people get a lot more out of the conference, and something I highly recommend you download before you get to Las Vegas and explore it. And there's a lot of conversation already taking place, so it's a great way to start your learning before you even get to Las Vegas and connect with individuals that you might want to connect with face-to-face once you get to Las Vegas. So I know we're a little short on time. Let's go back and cover a couple of more tips. And if you do need to leave, the session understood, this will be posted to our YouTube page in its entirety, and we'll bookmark different sections so that it's easy for you to come back and see what we've been talking about at different points. So we talked about the app. Let's move on from the app. Oh, one thing I also want to mention, very important. We value the feedback that we get from people, very much so. We ask you to evaluate any sessions that you attend. The session evaluations are all done through the app. There's no paper evaluations at Devlearn. So when you're in the app and you go in to a session, if you're in the agenda and you go to session details, after a session ends, you'll see an option at the bottom that says Start Survey. That's where you're going to be able to find the option to evaluate the session that you were at. The session evaluations are very easy. It's 8 simple questions that you can use to evaluate the session. It takes less than 2 minutes to complete. One thing to keep in mind, the session about that survey to evaluate a session is not available within the app until the time the session is scheduled to end. So if you're attending a session that I'm doing hypothetically and it ends at 1:45, you won't see the Start Survey option to evaluate that session until 1:45. So if the session ends a few minutes early, you would need to come back after that 1:45 time to evaluate the session. You can evaluate them at any time after the session ends. But we do value that feedback tremendously. So we ask you to evaluate any sessions that you attend using that. One additional incentive that I'll mention is that there are different points generated in the app for different types of activities. Because we value your feedback so much, the highest point generating activity that you can generate within the app is completing a session evaluation. It generates almost 10 points just for completing a session evaluation. So please do, if for no other reason than for your points that you can use at the swag shop, complete the evaluations for any sessions you're attending while you're at Devlearn. When you go to registration, you're going to get a couple of important tickets as part of your registration materials. You will get a lunch ticket for both Wednesday and Thursday that can be used to redeem, that you'll be used to hand in to get your lunch in the Bellagio Ballroom on both Wednesday and Thursday. We're also having 2 receptions. One is our welcome reception Wednesday evening. And there's also going to be Demo Fest on Thursday evening, both of which there will be bars available there, cash bars if you wanted to, but you'll get a drink ticket that you can use at both the Expo reception and at Demo Fest, 1 ticket for each event. So make sure that you have your lunch tickets and your drink tickets so that you can redeem them for lunches and a drink during those different events. And we want to thank UConn, On Point Digital, Capella University, and Ouija for sponsoring our lunches and our receptions at the event this year. I mentioned the Expo Hall. Want to make sure you spend some time visiting that. Wednesday and Thursday it will be open. I mentioned the Expo Passport game. This is what that card looks like. So as you go around the Expo Hall, get it stamped by all of those different vendors. Make sure you hand it in at the registration desk. We will be raffling off an iPad mini at the Emerging Tech stage Thursday at 2:45, and you must be present to win during that drawing. Talked about the different stages that are going to be going on. You want to visit there. If while you're at the conference you need any assistance, you'll see this is our Steve, who's part of our guild service team. He's at the member services booth. Anybody at Devlearn who's going to be part of the e-learning guild team is going to be wearing one of these blue guild shirts that you see me wearing during this session now. If you need any assistance at all, look for these blue shirts. We're there to help you. We want you to have the best conference experience that you can. So if you have any assistance, if you have any questions, or even if you have any feedback, find one of us in the blue shirts and share it with us. We're there to help you get more out of Devlearn. So with that, I'm going to take a look and see if there are any additional questions. I see a couple of more coming in. We talked about the filtering. We talked about the orientation. Thank you for the feedback there. We talked about the maps, and I don't see any additional questions there. I'm going to take a look at the Google Plus page one more time, make sure that nobody posted a comment there. And just refreshing my screen. No additional comments there. So it looks like we have reached the end of the program here. And yeah, no additional questions. So Devlearn, starting next week, it's going to be really exciting. I thank you for spending the time with me during this online orientation. We are going to make this online orientation available on our YouTube page. I'm going to set up some bookmarks within the video so that you can see contextually different elements. If you don't have to sit through the whole thing. If you wanted to revisit any of the critical parts, I'll bookmark it so that you can come in and see those individual parts. But we thank you for watching this live orientation. We're really excited about Devlearn. It's going to be the best conference ever. We will see you next week in Las Vegas. Take care, everybody. Thanks for joining me for this Google Plus Hangout.